I read recently that retro pastimes are back in vogue. It seems that those nostalgic hobbies from way back when are becoming popular again. And that's what I'm talking about in this video. When I was a boy, one of the hobbies that so many men and boys seemed to indulge in was train spotting. You'd see them at the end of a train station platform, pad in hand, scribbling down the numbers of each engine as they pulled into the station. I know plenty of boys and men that used to spend their time making models. I remember making balsa wood planes, but I was rubbish at those Airfix models. These days though, I'm aware that crafts such as sewing and needlepoint, cooking, gardening and painting are coming back as people take them up to escape the stresses and strains of modern day life. Maybe it's been because the cost of living rises over the last year, but I feel that more people are starting to grow their own vegetables in their garden, and allotments are seeing people wanting to join the queues, but there are big waiting lists. I see more people are baking their own bread, so these traditional hobbies are making a comeback. They may sound old-fashioned, but many people say how relaxed they are when they get involved. I have a niece who recently took up bird watching and has taken some lovely photos of the birds that she's seen. I have friends who love nothing more than sitting on the edge of a river fishing. They all tell me how their stresses just drift away while they're there. Personally, I'm pleased to see calligraphy making a comeback. As a boy at boarding school back in the mid-70s, one of my school friends wrote everything with an italic fountain pen, and the writing seemed old-fashioned and beautiful. I got him to show me how to do the same thing. And over the course of months, I worked at learning how to write in a copperplate style. I'd forgotten all about that until a couple of years ago when my eldest sister presented me with an old school book of mine filled with calligraphy that I hadn't seen since I was about 14. In a survey of 2,000 people, it was found that 27% of the people who took part in the survey had picked up a new hobby the previous year. 25% had kept their hobby going over the last decade. 28% kept going back to a hobby that they'd done before, so it's obvious there has to be benefits to it. 1 in 4 of those said that their traditional hobby brought them a lot of joy, and a quarter of those surveyed also said that the hobbies benefited their mental health. For me, starting YouTube was a great new hobby. Although it's not a traditional one, it does involve photography, and I also look back quite a bit. So nostalgia and my love for music both play a big part too. And I have to say that I get lost in time as I get more involved and engrossed once I get started. So I too can agree what the benefits are to my mental health. What are your hobbies? Please feel free to let me know down below. And it appears that doing a lot of these hobbies doesn't have to break the bank either. Annually in the UK, the average Brit spends less than £220 a year on their hobby, but they spend 7 full days pursuing it. 3 in 5 say they're at their happiest when they're involved in their hobby, and 35% of those who took part in the survey said their hobbies are a key part of their identity. So when you think about it, a new hobby doesn't have to cost the earth or take up all of your time in order for it to be beneficial to you and your mental health with that overall happiness. So what are the top 25 hands-on hobbies in the UK? Here's a list. And since I've been talking about embracing old-fashioned hobbies, click up there to find out why we're feeling more nostalgic these days.